At GFI, we were founded originally, one of our 4 departments is innovation, and the innovation department was founded basically to help startups. We saw what Impossible Foods did, we saw what Just did. Just, Impossible Foods, and Beyond Meat were sort of the 3 companies that were the inspiration for GFI. We saw Pat Brown and Ethan Brown and Josh Tetrick, and we were absolutely inspired by the idea of taking ethics off the table. And what we wanted to do was help startup companies in the plant-based meat space and the clean meat space to be successful. And we branched out and we're doing a bunch of other stuff now as well. But that was the genesis of the Good Food Institute. So we are beyond thrilled to be welcoming up 6 companies that we think have the prospect to be the next Impossible Foods, the next Beyond Meat, the next Just. And one of the very first projects, when I was first calling people who were starting companies and I was saying, what should GFI do? And I chatted with Uma Valetti, and I chatted with Ethan Brown and Pat Brown and Josh Tetrick and a woman named Alexis Fox who runs a company called Lighter. And they were saying, what we really need is to stop having to reinvent the wheel. You know, people have figured out lawyers and figured out technology and figured out staff plans and figured out books over and over and over again, and every single new startup has to figure that out yet again. So one of the first projects, which is coming to fruition with this conference, is GFI's Startup Manual. So in your bag, you have, I think it's like 3 or 4 new resources from GFI that we're very excited about. You are the first people ever to see the Startup Manual. It has just gone online, and we hope people will check it out. Brianna Cameron has done just an amazing job coordinating across all of the departments. So there's information in there from our corporate engagement department, our science and technology department, our policy department, and of course our innovation department. And Brianna has been the one behind all of it, making sure that it all coheres and writing the vast majority of the text. And it is, we hope, going to make it a lot easier for the for companies that are coming up, for the next Impossible, for the next Just, for the next whatever. But anyway, so the Startup Manual, please check it out. I think it's going to be an invaluable resource. And without further ado, we at GFI are just super excited about the 6 companies that you're about to hear from. And I hope that they are backstage. It looks like they are. So we'll welcome them out. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Megan Pointsky. I'm a senior editor at Food Dive, and I'm here to moderate the pitch panel. So we have some great startups that are going to be talking to you. Each one has 5 minutes to do their pitch, as well as answer questions. You can ask questions through Slido. I will be asking questions as well. And if there is a startup that has a question that you're dying to ask, be quick because there's only 5 minutes. So first, we have the Better Meat Company. Should I go now? Okay.
All right. Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me? You can hear me? Great. Okay. I'm Joanna from the Better Meat Co., and it's an honor to be here today with all of you. We have a pragmatic way of thinking about food sustainability, and I want to start with a little scenario to set the scene. So let's imagine that a corporate cafeteria somewhere in a typical suburban office park is serving pork sausages to its employees. The director of dining there is very aware of food sustainability issues and decides to offer vegan sausages right next to the pork sausages to see what happens. When lunchtime comes, employees start filing in and take stock of the options that they have available. Now, here's my question for all of you guys. What percentage of people that would have eaten the pork sausages do you think would consciously decide to switch to the vegan sausages? Any ideas? What do you think? 3, 5, 1, probably not 50, I'm just going to say that. But it's probably 5, right? I mean, 10% would be pretty significant. It makes sense because plant-based meat is a very tiny fraction of the overall meat market today. So it would be a massive advancement if plant-based protein replaced pork by even 5% in a cafeteria. But what if plant-based protein could replace up to 30% of that pork? And what if you could do this without asking employees to choose the vegan sausage? Don't get me wrong, vegan sausages do a world of good and they're much needed today. However, if we were to blend plant-based protein directly into that sausage, we'd be able to reduce meat demand by a much greater degree. And that is what the Better Meat Co. aims to accomplish. At the Better Meat Co., we make next-generation plant-based proteins that food service providers and meat processors can seamlessly blend directly into their ground meat. Right now, we're blending at about a 30% level, which translates to a 30% reduction in meat demand. So, why would our customers want to work with us? Well, first of all, our product enhances taste, retains moisture, it reduces calories, saturated fat, cholesterol. It helps our customers achieve their sustainability initiatives. And it does all of these in a cost-competitive way. Let's take a look at one of our early products. So here on the screen, you see 2 different sausage patties. One of them is blended with our product. The other one is just simply 100% pork. Another question for you. Can you guys tell which one is blended? I'm only going to give you a few seconds because I'm racing against the clock here. So it's on the left. On the left, you see a blend of 30% our plant-based protein blend, 70% pork. Right is 100% pork. It's pretty hard to tell, right? Don't want to go there. So look, plant-based meat, clean meat have come a very long way over the past 10 years. And so you might be asking yourself, well, why would we want to start blending now given their trajectory? Keep in mind, meat demand is on the rise in both the US and globally. In comparison, if you look at plant-based meat, it's essentially a rounding error of total meat sold today. I tried to put it on the graph, and you essentially can't even see it. And it's still not cost competitive. Clean meat may end up being the ultimate solution to the problems that we're facing, but again, won't be cost competitive for many years to come. Here's the reality. The clock is ticking. We're running out of time. We need multiple methods of working together to tackle the problems of animal agriculture. And blending is one of them. By all means, clean meat, plant-based meat will continue to progress over the years to come, but in the meantime, we can make an immediate impact by making meat better. And by better, we mean more plants, less animal. Now, at this point, I know exactly what some of you are thinking. You're thinking about the F word. If you're thinking about fillers, it's time to think again. Fillers are carbohydrate-based ingredients, so think breadcrumbs that add bulk but not nutrition. There are also extenders, which are single-ingredient proteins, so think like a soy concentrate, that you could add up to about a 5% level before consumers will notice the difference in taste and texture. In contrast, the Better Meat Co.'s proteins can be added up to a 30% level. And importantly, they improve the taste of the product while also improving nutrition and maintaining a similar amount of protein. At this point, we've raised over $800,000, and we will have product within the next month. So if you'd like to put our plant-based protein blends into your meat, come find me, come find one of our co-founders, and we will help get you started. On our team, we have Paul Shapiro, who wrote the bestseller Clean Meat. Adam Yee is our chief food scientist. I'm handling operations and finance. And we're honored to have GFI's Dr. Milena Eschrich serving on our board. And I also want to mention that the 3 of us met in part because of GFI. So, in sum, it's revolutionary to see plant-based burgers in the meat section of the supermarket today. At the Better Meat Co., we're aiming to take this to the next level by putting plant-based proteins directly into the meat itself. Thank you. I have 15 seconds. Sorry, I didn't leave you with much time. I tried to speed through it, but okay. Should I sit down?
In the few seconds we have left,
Okay.
Tell me, is this meant to be something that is differentiated to the consumer, and will the consumer notice?
So that's an excellent question. In general, if consumers think that the product is healthier, they're probably not going to think it tastes as good. So ultimately, we'd like to test it being a stealth product. Obviously, it's going to be labeled. But I don't think us advertising it as blended is necessarily the right way to go. So I think we're going to try to be, it's kind of like the sodium, reducing sodium. It's been done in kind of a stealth way.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Do you have time?
Great.
No.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thanks.
Very nice job.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next presenter is Higher Stakes.
Hi, I'm Benjamina, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Higher Stakes. What we often consider as impossible are simply engineering challenges. In other words, there's no fundamental laws preventing them. In the last few years, we've proven that making meat using cell culture techniques is not only possible, but our best shot at solving some of the world's most pressing issues. But before we're able to bring clean meat to the market, there's some key technological challenges that we need to solve. The first lies around the cost of the medium, which is currently prohibitively high. And this is mostly due to the medium. The second is while we're able to make prototypes, we still haven't managed to have bioprocesses that are fully scalable, replicable, and safe. Finally, if we're ever to rival with conventional meat and differentiate ourselves from plant-based meat, we need to create more complex structures, which will require innovation in biomaterials. Our academic partners have nailed down the science of making meat using induced pluripotent stem cells. Our academic partners have nailed down the basic science of making meat from induced pluripotent stem cells, which allows us to focus on 3 core technologies. Our first technology addresses the cost of the medium by significantly reducing the amount of medium needed, which at scale can bring the cost down to conventional organic minced meat. This also makes the process safer, and we're in the process of patenting it. Our second innovation lies around in-process monitoring, where we're able to create a fully automated closed system that allows us to know what's going on in our bioreactors. This will enable us to remove the need of antibiotics, reduce the risk of batch loss, and also make our process safer. Our third innovation lies around the scaffolding material, where we've identified a biomaterial that's cheap and that enables us to make complex structures. And to do all this, we've assembled the best team. My co-founder and CSO, Stephanie, has a PhD in modeling Alzheimer's disease using induced pluripotent stem cells. She also has experience with biotech startups. Our scientific director, David Hay, is the chair of the tissue engineering department at the University of Edinburgh and is a world-renowned leader in induced pluripotent stem cells. Our bioprocess advisor, Sakis Mantalaris, is also a world-renowned leader in bioprocesses and bioreactor. And myself, I have a master's in chemical engineering from Imperial College and have successfully led a business that was profitable. I also have experience in 3D printing, fragrance and flavoring, and marketing at PepsiCo. But we know this is a complex challenge that will require the best brains out there. This is why we've assembled a team of experts that help us and support us around automation, biomaterials, legal work, and supports higher stakes both formally and informally. Our aim is to have a lot of products, but in the meantime, we'll be starting with pork in Europe. By the end of 2019, we aim to be in the pilot scale, which is why we'll be developing our technologies until then, to be able to move to restaurants in 2021 and supermarkets in 2022. We're currently raising $3 million, with over half of it committed, in order to develop our technologies. We're also looking for bioprocess engineers and biomaterial experts. Oh.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, sounds good. Okay, we are going to ask you one question.
Sure.
And that is, the medium, it has an incredibly high cost everywhere else. How are you going to significantly bring the cost down in order for this to be an affordable product to consumers?
So as much as I can disclose publicly, of course,
yes.
The idea is that we want to reduce the amount of changing of the medium. So taking recycling basically a step further and changing it less than you would typically do.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Abbotts Butcher.
Hi everyone, my name is Carrie Song and I'm the founder of Abbotts Butcher. So it's not a surprise to anybody in this room that we're seeing a fundamental shift towards plant-based eating. Major health organizations are prescribing plant-based diets for health and wellness, and even mainstream chains like Walmart are asking their suppliers for more plant-based products. This is the new status quo. People are cutting back on meat and really leaning into plant-based proteins. But finding meat alternatives can be a really big challenge for many people like myself who care about the ingredients we're putting into our body. In fact, 70% of consumers who are purchasing meat alternatives will read the nutrition label, and a staggering 91% say that familiar, recognizable ingredients play a key role in their purchasing decision. So you can see why it's an issue when most of the meat alternatives on the market are filled with ingredients like these: synthetic chemicals, additives, artificial colors, flavors, natural flavors, preservatives. They're highly processed foods when consumers are demanding cleaner products. That's why I created Abbotts Butcher, pure plant proteins that fuel and nourish the body. Our ground beef, chorizo, meatballs, and burgers have the depth of flavor and the hearty mouthfeel that you crave, and we only use the highest quality ingredients, all of which are non-GMO. And while most meat alternatives are based in either soy or wheat, we are completely clear of the top 8 allergens. So not only are we soy-free, we're also gluten-free, which has been really important to us and to our consumers as we go to market. Right now, we're focused on expanding through food service. Food service is an $800 billion industry, and vegan options are projected to increase by almost 92% over the next 4 years. So we're partnering with regional distributors to penetrate key markets, growing through local chains, local independents, resorts, hotels, and corporate cafeterias. This will be complemented by a strategic retail partnership with Italy, who has chosen Abbotts Butcher to be their first plant-based meat. Since launching in October of 2017, we've seen our sales revenue increase by 20% month over month, putting us on track to reach revenues of $170,000 this year. As we move to our co-packer, our margins will grow north of 45%, and we'll be able to scale production to meet the growing demand for our product, reaching revenues of $750,000 next year and $3 million the following. And this is the team behind the growth. Melissa Ficina and her team at City Shot are managing our operations. City Shot specializes in working with emerging brands, securing supply chain, ensuring manufacturing efficiencies, and facilitating distribution. Melissa herself brings expertise in scalable production and operations. Andrew Ive is an official advisor to the team. He is the founder of Big Idea Ventures, the former MD of FoodX, and he brings extensive knowledge of the plant-based landscape, as well as brand management from many years working for P&G. I have a degree in economics from Princeton University. I worked for several years in corporate finance for Morgan Stanley and Citigroup, and then 5 years in marketing for Tony Robbins as a brand strategist. But more than what's on my resume, this is my life's work, bringing better food to more people. And we're raising a $1 million seed round to help us do just that. This will give us 14 months runway so we can scale production, expand distribution to 500 food service accounts, to add key members to our team, and to support our marketing initiatives. This is all to make a huge impact in this industry. Because we're building more than a business, we're building a brand, one that our customers can trust to deliver on the highest quality ingredients, one that they can connect with, and even one that they can identify with. Because ultimately, this goes beyond just plant-based meats. This is their way of building a healthier life for themselves, for their families, and for the planet. Thank you.
So my first question for you, can you explain the name, Abbotts Butcher?
I lived in Venice for a while on a street called Abbot Kinney. Abbot Kinney was a conservationist, and part of our mission is to be environmentally friendly, so it's Abbotts Butcher.
I see. Now, you were talking about how you've had 20% growth month over month, and very quickly, because we are out of time, how are you going to sustain that kind of growth?
I mean, most of this growth has come because we put our customers first. We've fallen in love with our customers and continue to try to add more value than anybody else in the game. So putting them first, expanding through food service, and being able to scale production to meet that demand will continue to sustain that growth.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. All right, next we have New Age Meats.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Spears, co-founder and CEO of New Age Meats, and I'd like to introduce you to Jessie. She's a pig. Adorable, right? She lives in Marin, just north of us, and in early July, we went up and grabbed a small biopsy from Jessie, and she ran off back into the farmyard, and we ran back to our labs at IndieBio. And we took some of her cells, and we started dividing and multiplying them, and multiply, and multiply, and multiply, until pork sausage. Here are some of our prototypes, and in a week and a half, we're gonna have a very slick tasting, where we are making muscle and fat into pork sausages. A very small tasting because, as you know, it's expensive. Why is it expensive? Well, we have some big challenges: consistent product quality, scaling, and dropping cost. When you take cells from an animal, they don't want to live, they want to die. So what do you do in order to make them live? What growth factors do you give them? In what order? What pH? What temperature? So those types of questions we need to answer. We know we can make clean meat in the lab, but can we make it in a 20,000 liter reactor? We address that with our scaling. And additionally, can we make it at such a cost that consumers will buy it and replace animal products? New Age Meats makes clean meat using automated cell culture and rapid R&D. We're able to address these challenges. We are a GFI success story. We met through the GFI Ideas Forum. GFI has helped us along the way. Andra Nukula, my co-founder, Oxford PhD in molecular biology, 6 years of experience in stem cell and tissue engineering. Myself, chemical engineer, 12 years of experience in research and industrial automation, co-founded a company called SixClear, and we automated the research labs and production environments of customers like NASA, Cisco, Intel. I would go into deep research labs, and I would make them faster. In the case where they go to market, like Cisco, I would drop that barrier between R&D and production, which is just what this industry needs. So addressing those challenges, we can have automated cell line optimization. There is so much about cell culture right now that is not being captured because we're using our eye. But if we have automation equipment, then we're taking dozens of parameters continuously, which means millions of records, which means a lot of data, and then we can uncover insights that we wouldn't see otherwise. We have proprietary mini bioreactors. Whenever we perfect something at the lab level, we also try them in these reactors that mimic industrial scale. And then finally, we do an integrated interdisciplinary technology approach. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We understand that there are very good skills in human tissue engineering, like scaffolding and bioreactors, and we're incorporating those. Allows us to lower production cost, scale much faster, and then produce several types of meat. We're not just a pork company. We started with pork because originally we were excited about that $300 billion addressable market. 60% of our customers are in Asia, the fastest growing population on Earth. But we soon realized that the mountain of data that exists around pork cell lines because of therapeutics, because of organ transplantation, means we could go to market faster. Additionally, we're making minced or ground products, so sausages and dumplings, which we know consumers already love. Not everyone loves it, though. We know some people they think it's unnatural. They think, I want to think of a farm, I want a barn, I want Jessie. I want to eat Jessie. We understand that. And so when we go to market, we pair it together with something that's not entirely natural. It is beer. It's bread. We don't dig up beer from the ground. We don't pick bread from a tree. We have raw ingredients, but then we use intense science and engineering. With beer, in fact, there are giant reactors. There are rivets, there's steel, there's steam coming out, there's piping, there's gauges. It's engineering, and yet beer, we love it. And so we take our pork sausage and we pair it kind of a bratwurst style in this Bavarian brewery, and we have beer on one side being made in reactors, on the other side, pork. We will literally show how the sausage is made. We'll be working on that for the next 18 months. We're going to be working with a brew pub, and then we are also doing R&D for other meats as well. We are not just a pork company. As we move to market quickly because of pork, we're making that automation platform. We can move on to cow, we can move on to crab. We are opening up our seed round in October. We are also hiring cell culture biologists and data scientists. Come be a part of the new age of meat. Thank you.
So a question that I have for you, you have a fairly quick timeline. Is this a realistic timeline considering that you are still in the stages where you're trying to figure out if you can make it work well?
Is it a realistic timeline? Yes. Okay. That's the short answer. Cut to the chase there. Yeah, so we think it's not just a matter of hiring more. We've thought about how do you organize a company. It's not just a matter of hiring more scientists and having better hunches and intuitions. You make a platform, you make an automation platform where the data and the structure, that's actually the IP, that's actually the value. So every person that comes into has this synergistic effect where they can improve radically our entire understanding and unlock more data, unlock more insights on how cells work.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. And our next presenter is BioSalience.
Hi, I'm Simon Kahn, founder of BioSalience. Last year or so, we interviewed quite a number of companies in clean meat, 8 just in the last couple of months. And the common thread seems to be that one of their great challenges they see ahead is to design the products that meet customers' needs, their desires, that balance a whole bunch of different properties, texture, cooking qualities, marbling, nutrition, and so on. And doing that is going to require a lot of prototyping. They're going to have to prototype and get their product just right prior to mass production. So the problem is that laboratory prototyping is pretty slow. Experiments in the laboratory, they take time. It takes several weeks to a month just to grow maybe a millimeter worth of tissue at best. And during that time, you have to attend to these experiments. You've got to do work to get the results out, to do the measurements. And you create a certain amount of waste at the end of it, or at least you've wasted your ingredients. So the time to market depends upon this learning process, which is limited by how fast you can perform those experiments. Now, you might think that to reduce risk, you'd like to get your product to market faster, so you pursue multiple paths. But now you've got an increased cash burn rate because every experiment costs you money. So you look at that product of those two, the cash burn rate and the time to market, that pretty much determines your expense of getting to market. They have a multiplicative effect. Now, suppose we could reduce the time to market, or the experimental time, by an order of magnitude, a factor of 10. Maybe we could reduce the cost by a factor of 10 or 100. So all in all, we might be able to reduce the total expense by a factor of 1,000. Wouldn't that be great? That's what we think we can do with computer-aided design. We want to bring computer-aided design to clean meat, to design faster, cheaper experiments. And here's an example. This is we did this for one of our clients, growing skin tissue virtually to match a laboratory experiment they were performing. 3 weeks of virtual skin and a day of computer time cost less than $25. And of course, the computing is getting cheaper and cheaper, so this is getting better and better. So that's a factor of, we'll just jump right to the skin tissue growth here. So this is a scaffold at the bottom there. There's progenitor cells becoming keratinocytes. All of the chemistry, the biology, the mechanics of the cells pushing against each other as they rise, and they go from keratinocytes to corneocytes, where they flatten out and they release lipids into the skin tissue, and then they die. Reach homeostasis. We validated this against physical experiments. And now we can perform an experiment on that tissue. Imagine you're pushing your thumb down on top. We want to test the elasticity of skin. That's a measure of skin health. And you can see it bounces back. So we're able to perform experiments on our grown tissue. Thank you. Great. Oops. No. Stop it. Let's see. How do we get to the next slide? Great. Thank you. So who are we? We're a social purpose corporation, and our mission is to increase productivity in life science R&D while reducing the impact on living systems and the environment. We've got an interdisciplinary team. Caroline, who's up in the upper left there, and Jake, the upper right, are modelers. They're here. You can talk with them. What they do is provide modeling services. So we integrate what our clients know about biology and physics and mathematics of their systems, whatever we can find out from them, in one integrated model. We simulate that on our simulation platform, which scales up to billions and billions of cells and hundreds of computers. We're able to then look at the results using our BioVision visualization platform. Whoops, I'm sorry, once again. We have 3 referenceable customers, Procter & Gamble, Institute for Systems Biology, and Celgene. And our call to action, we're creating a consortium to build a pre-competitive clean meat modeling platform. We're calling that the BEST project. We're inviting clean meat companies to join this. And in exchange, get early access to the platform we'll develop over the next few years. And we're also looking for investors. Please contact us if you're interested in opportunities. And if you sign up at our table, you can receive a free Bessie project mug. So I'm guessing I'm out of time.
Yes, you are out of time, but I'll ask some quick questions. So, very quick question. How do you know this will work?
Well, we've worked in other industries for the last couple of years with Procter & Gamble. It's been successful there. Actually, we think that this may be an easier system than some of the ones we work on, like cancer. So we're pretty confident that it'll work.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right.
And the last presenter is Something Better Foods.
Well, my name is Chef Chew, and as I always say, going to give you something to chew on. Well, I'm the founder of Something Better Foods, and our mission is to change lives one chew at a time. I was raised a hardcore Southern country boy, and I ate so much meat. I mean, everything from fried chicken to ribs, the ham, the pork chops. We even ate squirrels. But this sad reality is that this lifestyle of eating so much meat had a detrimental impact on our family's health, and it also had a detrimental impact on the environment. So we've created the best tasting plant-based protein solution with a texture and taste that satisfies your body's desire for meat, and it's made with whole food ingredients that you can pronounce, and it looks and it tastes and it feels like meat. And we call our product Better Chew. We like to say it looks like chicken, it tastes like chicken, but guess what? It ain't chicken. It's crispy on the outside and it's white in the middle. Oh, it's delicious. And so, again, our motto again that we have with our product is to make healthy food amazing. Right now, this slide is not working, so I hope you guys can still follow me and laugh a little bit, but it's going to be okay, right? And so, amazingly, our go-to-market strategy is actually starting with food service. I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, and if you know anything about the Seventh-day Adventists, we have one of the largest plant-based meat cultures in this country. We have a number of hospitals and schools that are actually 100% vegetarian, and it's actually a $50 million business right now. And so we're going to be introducing our product into these schools. We also have other food service companies that we're working with that we're going to be supplying. We also are going to be going to grocery stores. We have some amazing products that we're going to be launching. We have a shredded steak product that's completely unique to the space that we're going to be launching at the market. And lastly, we have a direct-to-consumer model. We realize that places like Whole Foods are not in every community. And so we believe that healthy proteins, plant protein, should be in every single community where that it's affordable and it's accessible to all people. Also, right now we have a purchase order on the table with Whole Foods Market. We're going to be launching next May into Whole Foods, going into all of Northern California, into all of Southern California. Also, with our direct-to-consumer, myself, I'm an African American. We eat the most amount of meat in this country. In the sad reality, we have the most amount of disease. And we also live in food deserts. And this is a detrimental situation. Right now, you can see two of our current customers. The young lady on the right, she actually has been eating our direct-to-consumer subscription box for the last 10 weeks. She literally lost 18 pounds in 10 weeks. Isn't that amazing? So it's pretty awesome. And so she's actually 100% plant-based and has changed her lifestyle to eating more healthy. Also, right now, you can see here that we also believe in community education. So we do cooking classes and education to underserved communities. Myself, I've been a serial restaurateur for the last 12 years. I'm a food inventor and a national educator. And I also have a vegan restaurant right here in Oakland. So you can go to the Veg Hub restaurant tonight and taste a delicious Philly cheesesteak that's amazing. And also my partner, James Sims, as our CFO, an amazing young man when it comes to finance, been in the finance business for over 10 years. We have an amazing team that's been working with us on our business development We have advisors from Kaiser, advisors Nate Peter, who's in the room tonight. Also, Dr. Milton Mills, who's a leading educator in plant-based foods. And we have an investor advisory group that's helping us in our seed round. Right now, we're looking at a model that's built on sustainable and responsible growth. We're looking to be about an $8 million company in the next 5 years and to grow from there. Lastly, we're raising a $750,000 round on a convertible note. We're actually in due diligence right now with a number of investors, and we would love to partner with some of you all out there to finish our round before the year is out. We're looking to raise money for equipment, working capital to build our team out, and we'd love to talk with you. Again, my name is Chef Chew, and as I always say, gonna give you something to chew on.
Thank you so much. So the direct-to-consumer market is kind of difficult for any company, even a conventional company. How are you going to succeed there?
Well, right now what we're looking at is focusing on hyper-localized marketing, meaning we're focusing on urban centers. So we're going to start right here in the Bay Area. We're following models of companies here locally that have been successful. I know it's a difficult process, but we're focusing on a very hyper-local model, focusing on urban centers. So we're looking at that as being our strategy. And the great thing about it is that in our model, our direct-to-consumer model has a higher margin than even grocery. So it actually kind of works itself out.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
I don't know about all of you, but I found that completely inspiring. I think any one of those 6 companies could absolutely be the next Impossible Foods or next Beyond Meat or Just. So we want to take them all out here and get them together for a bow. Let's give them a round of applause. All right. Thank you all very, very much. Super exciting and inspiring. The next Innovators.